Hi there, welcome to our instructional video on how to use Rainbird's Cirrus irrigation control system. This is the program software that we're using. You can see it's got a beautiful cloudy background, cirrus clouds, that's why it's called Cirrus. Anyways, as we set up our irrigation system, you're going to have to start by going into the System Settings tab, and you're going to have to make sure that you're on the decoder setting for us. Right now we've already set it up here, so we are indeed on that setting. Your next step is to come into your system data and your tables and find the precipitation data table. Now we've already filled these out with the information that we found from the Rainbird website based on their products, and we've also used the shapes, the patterns that are on the golf course to come up with the patterns on the table. So simply enough, you select square, you can select triangle, or whatever it is, depending on what the irrigation setup is on our irrigation map. So for greens, it's a square. So we simply select that, hit OK, and then we move on to finding, the arc. All the greens heads are 360-degree arcs, and you go ahead and find the flow, the flow per head. They got a handy table built into the program right here. So we're using, for greens, we're using Rainbird 700s, and we're using orange nozzles, number 40 there, at 80 psi. So you select that, hit OK, and it will populate the data here. When you combine that with the head spacing, which being a square, it's 71 by 71 feet, is the throw distance that is suggested on the Rainbird website. We can put its 360 arc, and it comes up with a precipitation rate of inches per hour at 0.61 inches per hour. But this is great because we're going to be able to use this tool later in our process. So that's the first step. Hit OK. We'll move ahead and go up to area definition tables. So this way we define each of our areas. If you look over here, we have all of them listed out. Area handle. You're only allowed to use each letter once, so we used G for this one. We already got it selected, so we don't need to now. We've named it greens. This is important to take your time and do, because once it's done, you can't do it again. And if you try to redo it after you've input all of your data and where your sprinkler heads are and all that information, then it loses all that information for you, and you have to rename it and input all of that data again. So those are all the golf areas. We have greens, tees, fairways, approaches, perimeter, surrounds, and the rough. And we threw the driving range in on the other areas. If you had a big clubhouse lawn and gardens, you would also put those in the other areas section. So now that we've done that, you hit close, and we continue on. And in this section, you put your runtime that you would like everything to go. We put 10 minutes to make it nice and even. It's pretty simple. You select that box and just type in 10. And then you move on to make sure you do that for both the golf course mode and the other areas mode. As you can see, the little fairways icon is the golf course mode, and the plants icon are the other areas. You move on, and you put all the other extra information into this table here. So if we go to the golf course, we have Rainbird 700 series on the greens. And there's another, again, a table that comes up here, same table as before, and you go ahead and find your series, your head series, your PSI, your nozzle, and you hit OK, and it'll populate that and this column as well, which is the flow. You got to list how many heads are on each decoder. So for greens, we have one head in each section, whereas for fairways, tees, approaches, surrounds, and rough, most of our heads are linked with two heads under one call number. We number the area based on what you value and what you use more often. So when you're calling on the radio, these numbers are going to be relevant. So greens will be number 1 through to number 7 for rough. And then this is a nice tool here. You bring in your precipitation rate from the chart we made earlier. And when you're done that, you got to make sure you come in here and make sure all the data is imported. All areas all sub areas and all data all have to be selected. You hit OK, and you're now done this section, and you go on to the other areas and do the same thing. So once you've done that, you hit close, and you've finished your system settings for our golf course. You go ahead and hit close on that, and you go to station data. Now we've already populated the first hole. We're going to go and just do a quick run through of the second hole. So we're going to go ahead and put greens, select greens, and we're going to add 5 areas for all 5 of our greens. So first step is you come in here and you're going to go ahead and write down the number in the decoder call number. For this purpose, we're using really simple numbers. We've numbered the very first head on the first hole number 1, and we've gone through to 490 on our 18th hole. So this one, I believe, is head number 30. Oops, 30. Go ahead and hit enter, and you would do that for all 5. For greens, you got to pick your decoder type. For greens, we have FD601. So you select that, and if you were to pair all of your heads, you would take this and put a 2 in there to let them know that, or to let the system know that there are 2 heads on that one call number. As you can see, our runtime is already automatically put in here, as well as more information regarding what type of head it is, the Rainbird 700 series, and the flow rate, the gallons per minute. You go ahead and do that for each area up here, and you are all set to go, and you're ready to start irrigating your golf course from the computer. Thank you for watching, and hope you learned something, and have a nice day.